call this May 12th, 2026 Essex County Board of Supervisors regular meeting to order. Vice Chairman Gill, do you want to lead us to the invocation, please?
Yes, board members, please stand, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight with another prayer and asking for your strength and your guidance in leading this board, leading the county administration, leading the citizens of the county, the state, the country, and the world. We also ask for your healing hands and safety hands on our armed force members who are in harm's way. We also finally want to thank you for this last rain that we've had. We always look for more for this growing season coming up. With these things we ask in your name, amen. And please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. All right. Next, we'll review the agenda. Do we have any additions to the agenda that the board would like to make? I would like to certainly add that since we missed in our work session to allow for the Riverfest presentation to be had.
No, motion to approve the agenda with the added item on Riverfest.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it. All right, we'll go into our.
Would you like a roll call?
Oh, yeah. We should have that, shouldn't we? Thank you, April.
Chairman Akers,
Present.
Vice Chairman Gill,
Present.
Supervisor Hale,
Present.
Supervisor Henry.
Here.
Supervisor Magruder.
Present.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We said it all very quietly. That's why you didn't hear it. All right, we'll get into our public hearing rules of procedure. The purpose of a public hearing is to receive testimony from the public on certain resolutions, ordinance, or amendments prior to taking action. A hearing is not a dialogue or a debate. Its express purpose is to receive additional facts, comments, and opinion on subject items. Speakers should approach the lectern so they may be visible and audible to the board. Each speaker should clearly state his or her name and address. All comments should be directed to the board. All questions should be directed to the chairman. Members of the board are not expected to respond to questions. The response to questions shall be made at the chairman's discretion. Speakers are encouraged to contact staff regarding unresolved concerns or to receive additional information. Speakers with questions are encouraged to call county staff prior to the public hearing. Speakers should be brief and avoid repetition of previously presented comments. At the conclusion of the public hearing on each item, the chairman will close the public hearing. The board will proceed with its deliberation and will act on or formally postpone action on such item prior to proceeding to the other agenda items. Further public comment after the public hearing has been closed generally will not be permitted. So tonight we have a public hearing on a rezoning case 202-60022. So Brian, you want to give us an overview?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman Akers. This request for rezoning is involving 3.08 acres located off Hospital Road. It's in 2 parcels. It is currently zoned B1, and they would request a rezoning to R3. That's technically a downzoning, but it still requires public hearing with Planning Commission and full review by the Board of Supervisors. If you guys could pull up the Planning Commission memo I sent you, I've got some area maps that might be relevant. With the most recent memo I submitted to you all that you have on your board docs, it's just a quick memo kind of outlining the Planning Commission's recommendation. The Planning Commission received a proffer from the applicant prior to their hearing, and thus that changes the project description slightly. This would be a conditioned rezoning coming to you. With the receipt of the proffer and full hearing, the Planning Commission decided to vote for a recommendation to you. That said, you did have a protest, one written protest and a few adjacent property owners who spoke in concern at the hearing. You have copies of their correspondence in your minutes, and also the secretary did a pretty good job, I think, of capturing what was said if it was not a written protest. This is the site in question here. You can see Hospital Road, if you're kind of looking to your right, goes through. There's that little stub road there that feeds up into the building at the bottom hand part of the page, which is the urgent care facility. The two, I've kind of, that's my line in yellow there. That outlines these two. They're basically hockey puck shaped parcels that feed off of that cul-de-sac. Those are the two subject parcels for this possible rezoning. If you could flip down a little bit. You see your comprehensive plan layer that shows a comprehensive plan layer. If you could flip down a little bit, I think the next map shows the zoning districts. Yeah, there you go. You see your business district there. The subject parcels in brown are B1 now. You see the green behind them. That's your residential district. And that is R4, if I'm not mistaken. Flip down there a little bit. Yep. The R4 is a repealed district, so the applicant, in discussion with county staff in the months and weeks leading up to this, looked into the R4. The R4 is not available for further zoning, so that was out of the question. That automatically slides you into the R3. As you all know, with R3, you are able to do multifamily housing. And when you read the adjacent property owners' concerns, that was their concern, was the multifamily housing. County staff are not allowed to say, hey, this is what I think your proffer should be, or I think you should self-limit yourself. That's kind of out of bounds. That said, the applicant did come up with that proffer with the help of his consultant, and I think that's a critical piece of this, is a proffer that limits those 5 desired parcels to being single-family residents only. In other words, they're not duplexes, they're not triplexes, they're not townhouses, they're only a standard single-family residence arrangement. With that said, I think if you scroll down further, that might be my last map. Okay, thank you.
Board members, do you have any other questions for Brian before we get into any public hearings?
I do. Brian, you had presented this last month, and I just wanted to follow up on the questions I had then. Are these lots serviced by sewer and water from the town of Tappahannock?
They are serviced by sewer and water from the town of Tappahannock. I had a follow-up conversation today with the assistant town manager who kind of heads up water and sewer connections. He said that the applicant has had discussions with him on that. At this time, there's no submitted plan for a hookup. I'm sure that would have to be forthcoming once the rezoning's done. I will point out that the applicant and his consultant are here, so that may be an excellent question for them to be able to answer how that's going to work. I know that the town is concerned with any possible hookup, and we have several possible other rezonings and projects that are going on in the areas of the county adjacent to the town where people are doing a lot of advanced planning in that regard, and a lot of advanced engineering with us before they even come for rezoning to make sure that they fit with what the town's capacity is there. I'm not sure where the force main is and where pump stations are there. That's something that is kind of an open question. Possibly the consultant for the applicant could answer more on that.
If that can't be answered, then let's assume, just for discussion, that town, for whatever reason, unable to, it's cost prohibitive, whatever, and they can't do sewer and water there, are these lots then big enough to be able to do septic as the alternative?
The lot geometry and the size of the parcels at that point becomes very difficult to do. I wouldn't say impossible. There's nothing impossible with good engineering, but in a standard sense, that they would be very, very difficult to have a well and septic on, and have the room that you have with the lot geometry that's proposed.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I know in the county, usually a 1 acre lot is what's
Minimum.
required or necessary, so you have a septic site and an alternative site, and an acre would give you enough room. Unless these had sewer and water, then that would not be the case.
Correct.
There's no way they could get two, let alone, I don't know if even they could get one on at least one of these lots, but.
1
maybe I'm
acre
wrong.
sounds like a lot of land, but when you start thinking that you need to have your well 50 to 100 feet away from
From your
the
house.
septic system, you start scaling in all those distances on a 1 acre lot, you're really not left with a lot of room to play with. When you get down to a 1/4 acre size lot, or 1/3 of an acre, you need to be on a well, you need to be on town water or sewer.
And now, this would be a private road, so it doesn't need to, or it's not required to meet VDOT specifications, correct?
That's
As a private road.
The applicant would desire to have this be, and I think that's why they've arranged it to be a 5-lot subdivision. They would like to be at a minor subdivision level, therefore it would not be required to be a VDOT state-maintained road.
So the potential residents on those 5 lots then would be required to keep up that
Correct.
road. And do we know if that road is gonna be paved, or is it gonna be gravelled, or we don't know?
We don't know at this time based on the current plan submittal.
And the reason I bring that up is that there was an incident for a resident on Berry Hill Road years ago when another subdivision went in above them, very similar hillside, it's the same hillside here that this one's dealing with. And they ended up with all the runoff from that subdivision coming into their yard. It was a big problem. There was nothing that the county could do for them. There's just no law or anything preventing it. I just want to make sure that the other owners of lots in that area and the access to the emergency services and other facility up there on the hill, that road, doesn't wash into that cul-de-sac and cause a problem there, or to that other building just below that. And there's no guarantee, is there, if it doesn't meet VDOT specifications?
No, the VDOT process, I will tell you as a county staff person, is very nice because you have not just yourself to enforce it, but you have a state agency behind you that is looking and checking, and VDOT has lots of field staff that make sure that before that road, as it comes to adoption by you guys, that it's met density requirements and erosion sediment control standards. Not a perfect system by any means, but it's nice because it also takes away use conflicts. We as staff field a lot of use conflicts calls on private roads where you have 2 new houses and everybody else has been paying to maintain the road, and there's inevitably people try to bring county staff into that. We have to field those calls. Our subdivision ordinance, even for minor subdivisions, does a pretty good job of requiring a certain size and standard of road, but it's nowhere near as good as a VDOT standard.
And the last question I had last month during your presentation was EMS access. And there was talk that you have Black Gum Court that this connects into. That would give them 2 options, entrance and exit out there. And did we find out if Black Gum Court was a private road or is that a state road?
Black Gum Court is not state maintained. It is a private road. Beyond that, have I been able to locate, exact deed language that would allow connection or use by these parcels? I have not. That's a very good question for the applicant and the consultant.
So if there is no access to Black Gum, then where are emergency vehicles going to turn around based on the plat that I'm looking at here of the subdivision lots? fire truck could go in there and put out a house fire, Lord knows how they're gonna get out, or let alone if they had to go to another fire quickly or something, then, I don't know, in my opinion, chaos. You know, there's, how would they get out? There's just not a good way to do that.
That's a very valid question. That's one of the first questions we usually ask a potential subdivider.
Okay.
As you imagine, a lot of the fire and emergency equipment requires a pretty decent turn radius. You can't just drive in and back out if you're
Yeah.
bringing thousands of gallons of water or foam to a fire, so that's a concern.
Okay. Well, thank you for your answers.
Thank you, Brian.
Can
Go
I-
ahead.
Yeah, just give me a refresher course on the zoning here, Brian.
Okay.
We've got an R3 district here. The intended density is a maximum of 4.14 units per acre.
Mhm.
What's the intended density for the R2 district?
That is,
And I ask that question because we've got a proffer here that goes to single-family residences. And I'm just wondering, in my mind, the R3 is medium density. Would an R2 fit into this scenario?
yeah, and I think, I see exactly what you're saying. The problem with the R2 is not the matter of density, it's lot geometry. R2 requires a certain lot width and a certain lot size that was not going to allow the applicant to garner 5 lots out of this
Okay.
piece of land. It would end up being maybe 3 lots. It's, the density of R2, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's not 4 units per acre, it's more like around 2. In a very simple terms, R1 usually means 1 acre lot, R2 means usually a half an acre lot, and you can kind of mathematically go on down generally if you're looking at an R type of classification, but ours is slightly different, but yeah, the R2, you're right, would be ideal because it automatically restricts the multifamily, and it automatically triggers some of these other things. It's just not gonna work for the applicant with that.
It wouldn't
lot
work for
geometry.
5 lots.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hearing no other questions from the board, I'll see if the applicant has any
Thank you.
comments that would like to make, or the representative. We've got the package from the planning commission and all that, but we'll provide you an opportunity to provide us any additional information.
Thank you.
My name is Tim McKinley. I'm the applicant for this, and Mr. Chairman of the board, county administrators, and let me give you a brief hit. I developed that hillside. I developed where urgent care is. I've owned urgent care for 17 years with a lease. I had a 20-year lease with the hospital. We dealt with a lot of issues there prior because that piece of property it was a borrow site, and it was also a dump site for Lowe's. When Lowe's came in and developed, they used it as a borrow site, and they also used it as a dump site to take some materials from back off there. So we had to deal with the dynamics of both of those. Which we don't have to deal with all those issues anymore now. Anything less, any 2 lots is not feasible to put the money that's gonna cost to put the road and the infrastructure and so forth that goes in. It's just not feasible, with, anything less than the 5 lots. All the E&S measures will be taken care of according to state standards, and that is approved by the county and so forth. We have a E&S staff that will be checking and approving and so forth with all that. There is a 6-inch sewer line that I put in that runs past lot, I guess it's lot 4. It comes off of Hospital Road. It comes up, and it's about halfway up, It's on the property in the back, it goes about halfway up that hill that we'll be tapping into. So that's already in existence. And there's a manhole in if you're familiar where the Atlas Chiropractic building is, there's a manhole there. That is where it comes down off the hill into that manhole and goes out to Hospital Road. As far as water, there is a water main that comes from the tower up at LaGrange that comes down 360, and it comes, there's a clearing that comes up the hill to the urgent care building. There's a fire hydrant there, and then we extended the water line across the back of the property, and it terminates with a small hydrant at the other side and it's set up to tap into that for force main water supply for the rest of the lots. So the water and sewer is already there, up there on top of the hill. They're already in place. The town, it says, right now, they have the capacity for all that. A lot of the regs have changed over the years from hardscape road construction, and so if you look at one side, it's got curb and gutter, it's got everything else, and the new standards are more with softscapes. The ditches, you have ditches rather than curb and gutter that will absorb and take in the water, to disperse the water before it hits any other main travel. Down in the cul-de-sac, there is a curb inlet that anything that makes it that far will go into that curb inlet and stay off the road. The entrance going up there will be a significant construction entrance at first that will, with fabric and everything else, that will slow down any water and catch entrapment, anything that would come down the hill during the construction process. Now, the issue with black gum, and I think there's some discrepancy. I know that there's a document in the courthouse that says that there were 3 people that take care of the road and so forth. But that road goes along about 12 lots. If you look at that road, there are like 12 other lots in there. So anyway, if somebody else wanted to come along, I guess they could, buy one of those gully lots. They would still have the same access as anybody else, ingress and egress from there. My proposal is to connect those two roads from coming up for this development, connected to Black Gun Court, and then there will be a metal gate there that only the county EMS would have access to, for the exact reason we just talked about. It would serve both of these. Black Gum's the same way. If they had a fire back there, a major fire, then there's only one way in and one way out. And same thing, if a fire truck comes down there and blocks off, nobody else, they can't bring another truck in, they can't bring in additional services and so forth. This would create a continuous pattern to go either way, to make a loop so that, the vehicles can come and go through there. But it would only be open by designated personnel by the county to open it. So those lots have been there for 20 years. I sat down and had a conversation with the hospital administrator. I think we all know what their intentions are, is to, at some point, relocate or do something else. They don't have any interest in another building or something else that would be feasible on these lots. So these lots could be there until I'm dead, because there are other lots available that are right on Hospital Road. And so the only way that I could come up with, to try to do something with them, to make them useful, to make them assets for Essex County tax service, tax purposes and so forth, as well as myself, would be to divide these up. And the R3, R2 issue is because of the shapes of the sizes, the width, it's basically with the width of the front of the lots. They open up, they'll go back to the back, but the front's gonna be narrower. And so we don't have the proper width to comply with R2 zoning. So that's why we went with the R3. And that's why I put the proffer in there, so that it was very well understood that my only intention is to build 5 houses in there. There are a lot of uses it could be, there are a lot of by right uses that you could do with it, from basketball courts to everything else, which I don't think anybody would be interested in, seeing up there. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you. Board members, do you have any questions for the applicant? Appreciate your comments. We'll open it up for
Thank you.
public hearing. All right, at this time, we'll open it up for public hearing. Members of the community that want to make any comments?
My name is Sandra Madron, and I live at 283 Black Gum Court. I think you have a copy of my comments at the zoning commission meeting, so I won't repeat that. The proffer was added that night, and we were relieved that it was only going to be 5 residential homes as opposed to the possibility of multifamily dwellings. The road continues to come up in conversation, our driveway. We've been there 43 years. It was Adventist property when we bought our house. They built 3 houses on that property. It was platted for more lots. They never continued. Our front yard is part of what would have been the road bed that would have gone all the way through and connected to 360. But they stopped with the 3 houses. And consequently, we have maintained that land that's in front of our house, which was a road bed. We put shrubbery there and maintained grass, et cetera, et cetera. And I think I'm correct in that Virginia honors squatters' rights. So we have been squatters on that property for 43 years. We've maintained it, along with the road. Even though the hospital had to, way back then, because it was the Adventist when we bought it, it was still Tidewater Memorial. They had to sign off on us purchasing that house, and subsequently have had to sign off on other houses that have been sold. There's only 3 up there. But, now they don't even hardly know we exist, and they don't, we might still have to go to them if we were gonna sell our house or someone else was gonna buy it. The administrator would have to sign off on it. But they've never maintained the road. We have, the 3 residents who've lived there have maintained that road, we've been there 43 years, so. And it's not a driveway that would handle a lot of extra traffic. The lower part of the driveway is in an RPA zoning or RPA area. So it can't be brought up to, it couldn't be paved. You couldn't put curb and gutter in there. So you couldn't bring it up to a standard that would handle a lot more residential traffic. Now, as far as the emergency, he's exactly right. Luckily, fortunately, we've never had a fire and needed a fire truck up that driveway, but it would be an issue. We have had emergency vehicles come up there for various and sundry reasons, but if it's felt like it had to be access to the drive for strictly emergency vehicle, that would be one thing, but not for any more residential traffic, because it's just not going to handle it, and we're the ones who have to maintain it. And it's not, if you see the plat of our property, shows no access to that property. So, but as far as the R3, that was satisfied with the proffer, so we didn't have any other comments about that.
Thank you.
Anything you want to ask me?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Do we have any additional comments?
Hi, my name's Howard Bird. I live at 248 Black Gum Court. There's not a lot I can add to what she just said. I don't know if any of you are actually familiar with Black Gum Court. We've had a couple washouts on the high side. We've had to bring companies in with tree removal. It's all been at our expense. That road's not gonna support a lot of traffic coming up and down it on a daily basis. There are right now 3 or 4 vehicles that use it. And even then, if 2 have to pass each other, it's a little precarious on the downside toward the water. The other thing that I would like to ask is that as long as the proffers are in there, that was my biggest concern. We moved out here 12 years ago. The property's beautiful. It's very private up there. We have pets that are out and about on the roads. A lot of traffic would just wreak havoc. Other than that, that's all I have to say. I appreciate your time and thank you for listening.
Thank you. We have additional comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
Good evening, folks. Ms. Reynolds. My name's Jeff Howth, 556 Riverdale Road. I am, for those of you that don't know me, and I think most of y'all do, I'm Mr. McKinley's consultant. So I just wanted to, I think most everybody has done an admirable job all the way to the first presentation with Brian. To what's there, I just wanted to emphasize 1 or 2 things. I do appreciate Ms. Madron's comments about working through with the proffer and all. That's how this process is supposed to work. Neighbors get together and they talk about things and try to figure it out. So kudos to that part of the process. To Mr. Gill's question about R2 versus R3, Tim got it exactly right. Brian was really close, but I did the layout, because I'm a surveyor and engineer both. The R3 allows an 80-foot wide lot, just so we put numbers to things, where the R2 allows a 100-foot wide lot. If you look at, and I don't know if Chuck has a copy of the layout picture, I think you guys have it in your package. But if you look at it and you can see the topography, there's a knoll or a knot right in the middle of the property, where the middle lot is. And yeah, I think it's in that package. We tried to confine the lots to the 80-foot width, because if I gave too much of that knoll to the sides, then they get a lot of the downhill stuff. To go to Mr. Magruder's comment, because I do design alternative wastewater systems, I can put a wastewater system on that gravel road if you give me enough area of it. So wastewater systems could be done, but in this particular case, I did the original site plans for the urgent care and all. There was a lot of effort to make sure we accommodated all the drainage that needed to go across this property and basically across Hospital Road to go into the natural drainage way. There was manholes put in, there were sewer pipes put in, there were water lines put in, all in anticipation that Tim would actually hit the jackpot and this would all go to business. Well, we know how long the urgent care has been there versus how long anything else came up. So the jackpot didn't quite hit yet. But the next logical option was those single family. And it's close enough and proximal enough to existing single family that it wouldn't be a spot zoning or be considered a problem. Because if we look at that, remember that map with the green and the reddish brown, whatever color it was, it'd just be altering that line between the two. We talked about the well and septic. I think Tappahannock, and of course my suggestion would be, if there is a concern, just approve it with the condition that Tappahannock has to accept the water and sewer. I mean, I think that's a very easy way to do this, if we're desirous to move ahead tonight. Mr. Magruder also brought up some issues with erosion and basically hillside and slope. Brian knows we have a category now in our GIS and our zoning called steep slopes. to what's there. They do cause problems to what's there, but as you know, I mean, if you've been up there, I'm sure somebody's driven up the Madron's driveway. I mean, it's a gravel road. It would be the same character. Yes, there are errant rain events that cause erosion and problems. Mr. Hale will tell you better than anybody what it can do. They just get fixed along the way. Lastly, there is a plat. The original, it's recorded at D-Book 105, page 220. I only have one copy of it, but if y'all want, I guess I can give it to you. You can go get another one. But that was the original number of lots, and I believe the last lot was lot 17. There are actually 17 parcels subdivided up there. The Madrons are actually down here in this little tail. This part is the part that they take care of, and they actually have a private road maintenance agreement that they've executed amongst themselves. Paul Beef, if you remember the old pastor, he was part of that agreement. To take care of this, when you get up here behind the hospital, you know, these are roads that the hospital maintains to what's there, and then I think there's some areas that you probably couldn't build a road in. You know, this was platted 68, 69, somewhere along in there. Roads can be done. I don't think there's gonna be much problem with doing a road. As I said to Tim, you know, Black Gum Court Road is a gravel road. Needs a little bit of maintenance. Tim's Road is an asphalt curb and gutter road that goes through the urgent care. That's needed a little bit of maintenance at times as well. It's something you're just never gonna escape to get there. That's all I have. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments for the public hearing? Hearing none, we will close out the public hearing. We will go into public comments. Beth, I haven't forgot about you yet. After we get to the public comments, we'll bring you up before we start our other reports, agency reports. So at this point, we will go into our public comment section. Each speaker shall provide his or her name and Essex County address. For the record, before addressing the board, each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes. So at this point, I'll open it up for public comments. Hearing none, this will be quick. We will go ahead and close out of public comments. And at this point, Beth, as promised, I'll give you the opportunity that we missed in our work session to give you to provide your update and requests for the board.
Well, thank you. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate you adding me to this session too. I am here for 3 things today. I want to give you an overview of what Riverfest is going to look like because it's around the corner. I also do want to thank your staff. There's been a lot of work with your staff. And I also would like to ask for some financial assistance for public safety expenses. So we're super excited to welcome back Riverfest next Saturday, May 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we're especially excited to kick off some stuff for America's 250, and I also haven't forgotten it's the chairman's birthday. So
One big party for me, I love it.
right? To give you a quick overview, I know it's been a long day already, so I'm not gonna go drawn out, and all of you who know me know I love to talk, so I'll try to keep it a little short. So if you look at, starting at the left side of the map, that will be where our main stage is on Cross Street. We have 3 band performances that day. We have our Riverfest Idol, and we also have 2 rounds of line dancing. Our teen area would be in the courtyard over there. All along Prince Street, we have more than 20 food trucks. In the center there, you will see our information tent. I'd like to move back to where the museum is on Water Lane, because I think that's a really exciting addition for a comeback year. Our second stage, as we're calling it, which is in the museum courtyard, is hosting a lot of activities such as a fife and drum band, some Irish and English folk music, even a 1700s puppet show, which actually exists, and I think everybody should come see that because we got 2 performances of Death of Blackbeard and one of the Boston Tea Party, and we think it's going to be a really cool activity, and even an opportunity for kids to make their own puppets. We have weavers and what are they called? Like, I can't think of the other ones right now. it's been a long day. And canoe carvings, all kinds of really cool things, like heritage activities happening in that area. So then you move down Water Lane, you have all of our merchants who are selling all kinds of lovely goods. Move back to Cross Street, you have our beer and wine garden, some more vendors, Touch a Truck, and you'll have the National Guard that's coming with their rock wall. They have historically have always been at the event too. Pony rides, and something everybody seems to be really excited are crab races are back. And if you have the opportunity to win a crab race, you may even get one of these really cool crab hats. So we're super excited about that. And then to end it off, our kids zone, not only do they have the splash pad and playground in the park now, we have small carnival rides coming, trackless trains, we have mini golf, we have face painting, fairy hair, a petting zoo, exotic animal show. There are all kinds of things happening at this event. And I wanted to say that because I know y'all know when I came here the first time, you're like, wow, you're trying to do a lot in a really short amount of time. And we definitely have, and we definitely did. But that wouldn't be possible with like the help of a lot of people in this room and people who aren't in this room too. And when I tell you that your staff has been incredibly helpful to us, I really feel like I should name people, because when I say a lot of your staff, I mean like a lot of your staff. Like starting with Miss Rounds, anytime I contact her, it's always positivity and how can we help. And that alone, I could not ask for, more support than that. We have, Kyle and Wes and Sheriff Holmes and Major Hayes. Anytime I have security questions, it's like everybody is ready to answer your call and help you. Brian and Lauren, setting up meetings between the town and the county. Even Chuck and Carlos have even been on this too. And my buddy Woody over here, he's been doing a lot of planning work with us also. So it truly was like, it felt like an all hands on deck, and we really do appreciate that. Oh, I forgot my husband. So him too, right? He's gonna kill me because he's watching this right now, I'm sure. And he's like, forgot me. But as I said, it's just been a lot of people that have been a lot of help to us, and we really do appreciate that. Back to why I am here. Our hope is that we would have an incident-free event, but that is obviously something that we cannot promise, because we never know what's going to happen. So, in talking to everybody, our public safety expenses are higher than what we have expected, but for good reason, and having the proper coverage that we need. And those public safety expenses are about $9,000, which is about 16% of our entire budget, which is $55,000. We did not come here earlier to ask you for any funding because we didn't expect to, frankly. And once we learned about the overage that we needed in officers, we tried to do more fundraising, but we were kind of done at that point. And the way that we structured our fundraising this year, it was to sponsor certain aspects of the event. So these people sponsored a kids area, these people sponsored that area. So once we tried to do the increase to get public safety sponsors, it wasn't as easy, and we were on too short of a turnaround at that point. One other issue, so the total expense for public safety is $9,000. Yesterday, I asked the town of Tappahannock to cover $4,500 of that, which they all approved to do. So that would be my ask for you here today. I know it's a big amount of money, and I understand that, but anything that you feel like you would be able to contribute just to public safety, we would definitely appreciate that. Get back to our budget. I know y'all are budgeting money people. Our budget was started at $68,000. We reduced it a little bit in a short amount of time and couldn't get everything that we wanted to get done in that amount of time. So it's at $55,000 is our total spend on Riverfest this year. And we're at a break-even point, which is what our goal was to be at this point. But we had come across one issue, and that's mainly why we're here, is one of our largest sponsors, got let go before they put in our check request. And although that company is still funding our sponsorship, it's gonna be 90 days before we get the check from them, so that leaves us a 90-day gap without paying people, which we don't want to do. So that was a big part of a big wrench that was thrown our way, and we're only about 2.5 weeks into finding out that, that he did not process our check before leaving. And other than that, I would say we have had tremendous support from the community, businesses, sponsorship, and we're just really excited for a great day and to bring Riverfest back. So I'll stop.
So Beth, you mentioned the 4,500 for law enforcement was what your request is. You mentioned something about a sponsor, but you didn't mention amount.
Their sponsorship was $5,000.
Okay. And they're still gonna honor that sponsorship?
Yes. Like I said, we're only about 2.5 weeks into finding out that it's gonna be 90 days before we receive their check.
So is then your total request that you're asking this board 9,500? Or is it 5
9,000, so 4,500.
and 5,000?
No, just
You're not worried
$4,500.
about- Okay,
What?
so I misunderstood. You said the other reason for your request is you had a big sponsor coming in, it's gonna be 90 days till you get it. So you're not asking for us to cover that?
No.
Gotcha.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Perfect.
4,500. It's half
That's
of the
fine.
expense just
Yep,
to pay
gotcha.
our local safety and law enforcement.
Just clarify, no problem.
Yep.
Board members, any questions for Beth?
Beth, thank you, and Aaron for heading this project up. I know it's been a very busy time on this. And let's be positive. Let's say you do make money from this event. And where would this profit go? Are you going to, I know you don't want to probably go out on a limb and promise anything because you don't know whether it's going to be there, but do you have mechanisms in place to channel these funds if there is a profit? And Aaron just stood up.
Yeah, that is the hope, obviously. We want to have a profit. That's our seed for our startup of our next year. But
Okay.
also, we have a retreat planned with our newly formed board of directors this summer after this event is over to really dictate what we want the voice of Riverfest to be in the future. They used to do some like sponsorships for children's programs and things like that. But that's a discussion that after we get through this first year in our newly formed board retreat, that we will figure out what we want our
Okay.
voice to be in the community. So I don't want to speak of what it's going to be yet because that's not just my decision.
Okay, I
But I
understand.
would say a majority of it, at least in year one, has to be seed money for the next year.
That makes a lot of sense. I agree.
And I think, the hope is that we'll make this year, which we would love to make more than that, but in the $10,000 range.
Is there anything else? Thank you, Beth, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, moving on to our county administrator and agency reports. Not much more from me to add than we already have. I went to the school board's meeting last night for the public hearing portion of it. There wasn't a lot of public comments based on the school board's budget. I left after they went into closed session and came out. I did review the footage from their meeting. I try to go back and watch them the next day when I can. So I did see where they had postponed the budget until May 20th with an action proposed for May 28th to adopt the budget. A couple comments that concern me that I want to bring up to this board is that with not approving their financials, the comment was made that they felt like they needed to have somebody there to present the financials to them, and that was really pointed back at us as a county, and I take a little bit of offense to that, meaning that our centralized services wasn't there to present financials and hold their hand through it. And quite frankly, in my opinion, that is the superintendent's ultimate responsibility and his job. And so I want to bring that to your attention because I wasn't really happy about that. With that, I don't have anything else to add. We can go through April. Do you have anything to add?
Unless there's questions about my board report,
All right, let's go through. Let's see. Nita, do you have anything additional to add?
I don't.
Thank you. Carlos?
Can I get Anita to come up and
Yeah.
go over some things with me?
All right, Nita, you've been summoned.
I love my details.
Yes, sir.
All right, there were three things in your report that caused me some concern. The DOE reported that there was documentation missing for fiscal 24-25 for the schools. There's a corrective action plan, and part of that is monthly meetings. Are those monthly meetings happening?
They have not, so they just completed their on-site review.
Okay.
Their BDOE is internally working to finish their report, and to run it past their supervisors at BDOE. When we had an exit call with them, the other week, they had indicated that there would be a corrective action plan. They would be drafting that, and they would supply that to the schools with their expectations of actions that should be taken, and then at least monthly meetings, maybe more frequently, to check in on those actions to ensure that there was actually something being done, not just these are the suggestions we make and we hope you take them.
And if you-
And that goes along with the potential payback of funds that were not substantiated on the claim reimbursements. They have not said definitely that those funds will be owed back yet, but they're reviewing that internally to make that determination.
So in other words, there were non-substantiated reimbursements, meaning there's no paperwork trail, and there's $180,000 that
Could potentially,
have to be returned, and that money then would come from, let's just put it out there, you know.
It would come- it
It's gonna
would
come
come
to this
from-
board again.
come from probably the
Again.
county if there was no funds available in the school's
Okay.
budget.
So in this corrective action plan, if they're not meeting that corrective action plan, then what happens? Does DOE take over, or does DOE find them that we then become responsible for? How does that work?
I don't know, but I will certainly be asking those questions when they provide that plan.
On my behalf, please do.
Yes.
Now, with the school taking over financial starting July 1st, to me, it seemed that that would be for them
Yes,
to make sure that going forward, for sure,
yes.
that these reimbursements are documented and tracked properly, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes,
Am
so
I correct in that assumption?
You are, and I can say with certainty, since Brian began filing the claims for the school's grants through the systems that he was responsible for, there are some grants that he is not involved in.
Okay.
But since he has been doing that, he has been providing the documentation, even though that's not required to be submitted. When the reimbursement requests are made, truly you just type in what the time period is and what the dollar amount is for whichever budget line is on that reimbursement request. But we have prepared and put together and filed the backup that documents that. And that's what was missing when BDOE came for the audit, was when we didn't have that, and I would try to pull the reports, or Brian or anyone else, we couldn't pull reports for that time period that tied to those dollar amounts that were claimed.
All right, next item was the excess cost sped report. And what impact will that have on IDA funding if that's not correct?
I was able to get that submitted Friday afternoon.
You are a godsend,
Well,
thank you.
it was just working through all of it and learning the additional things that the excess cost report, I have learned, is that the special education, maintenance of effort and everything that we went through previously is for the state and local funds to be expended first. And then this excess cost for the IDEA money, 611 and 619, I know this is a lot to follow. That is the money to be expended from the federal government for special education costs once you have exhausted the state and local funds. So that's why it's the excess money. It's not that it was excess, it was your excess cost. And so I was able to tie back to the previous maintenance of effort that I had filed in January, because those numbers are part of it, and then build upon that to identify what we were claiming as the excess cost.
So we are good with that,
Well,
we hope.
they haven't approved it, they haven't accepted it, I have
Okay.
submitted it, and I worked with
Okay.
the same lady at VDOE that I worked with on the maintenance of effort. So she was very helpful, always very responsive. So we worked through it together to make sure I wasn't including something I shouldn't, and hopefully capturing everything I should. So that did get submitted on time Friday.
Keep us updated if that has been approved.
Yes, sir.
And the last item that you had brought up was the fiscal 25-26 IDA grants.
Yes.
If no annual plan is not approved, how much, if not approved or reduced, is that going to affect?
I should have been prepared on that. I do not know the exact amount of what was allocated. I can get you that amount that you appropriated, and that we were hoping to receive, but the 25-26 funds have not been approved for us to submit reimbursement request against, because that annual plan was supposed to have been submitted last May. It was submitted, it was rejected. If you look at the screen, there's multiple things that went through that Brian, again, discovered in February, I think, is when we initially discovered that that had not been approved for this year, so we could not submit reimbursements. So
There may be a cost.
if, I don't know what happens if it doesn't get approved, then that means we can't submit reimbursements against it. So that means that's revenue that would not come in, that was accounted for in the revenue projections of this year's budget. Hopefully it gets approved, hopefully Mr. Williams can work with the state to get that approved. That's what has been occurring.
And when would we find that out? Again, I'm trying to fiscally plan
Hopefully.
and see how much our reserves can take a hit here.
I don't know I feel like there should have already been an
Okay.
end date on that,
Right.
but, being that the school year's almost over, and then
Why I ask.
the 26-27 plan was due May 8th,
Okay.
I believe that was the date. And I don't know that that was submitted or not, because that was one that was supposed to be approved by the school board. It was. Okay.
Good. Just keep us abreast if that does not get approved, and there is a financial hit for that as well. And the last one you had on your report was the all-in funding.
Yes.
There was 180,000 that's going to be returned.
Unless there's additional uses that are found for that money. It was, the grant was written very specifically over a 3-year period. Of each year, there were particular items that were to be expended for certain causes, and each year was a bit short. So this is June 30th is the last to expend any of the funds, not encumber, but to actually expend and have receipts for by June 30th. And at the point that we were sitting in, when I last pulled the reports, at the end of April, at the end of April, but before the April payroll was processed, we were at about $180,000
That
that we had
county
not,
will have to return.
right, that we had, because this was fully paid to the county in 2023, $528,000. So the money is here, we would have to return it if we don't expend it.
And these are all education expenses, board members, just to keep you in the loop that as we plan and make decisions on approval of things, that this is stuff that's coming, it may not seem like a lot, but when you start adding up 180,000 2 or 3 times, $1.5 million, it adds up, gentlemen. And they call it death by 1,000 cuts, and I just want to make you aware of this. That's why I'm bringing it up. So thank you, Anita, for going over that for me. Appreciate it.
You missed the really good news that the rate below that was $1,658 that we received for the
I
law
was gonna-
enforcement block grant for some tires.
I was going to do that as one of my shout outs, so it's on there. I have it right here.
I shouldn't have stolen it, I'm sorry.
Why
It's
can't
okay,
anything
you can
positive?
steal it.
I had to end on a positive note.
I think that was a good
Nita,
thing. Thank you.
I I have a question, just to follow up on Supervisor Magruder's question. The DOE, when they were in here doing their audit on April 13th through the 17th, and they audited FY '24 and FY '25, is it normal for them to do a 2-year audit, or do we expect them in here annually, or what?
I don't know that, since I've been here 6 months and I have no frame of reference for that.
Okay.
I do feel like it might have been accelerated. I know that I've heard from other schools, systems, that they do come around periodically.
Was this audit unannounced?
They notified us, probably a month before they came,
Okay.
that they would be coming. At least that's when I found out about it.
So there was enough time to do some preparation to prepare documentation that wasn't available?
Correct. That there was a lot that I was unable to find, but then there were other pieces of the audit that weren't just financial. So I'm only privy to the financial part of it.
I understand. And the 180,000 that we may have to be responsible for and reimbursements, and this is maybe getting into the details more than you can comment, but do you know whether that was isolated to FY '24, FY '25, or both years?
It was both.
Okay.
There was reimbursement. My part that I dealt with was the reimbursement requests and the documentation for those. And it was actually a lot deeper than what I had even anticipated. It was not just saying, these are the people that were charged to it, but these were the people that were charged to it. This was their licensure status. This was their contract. This was the EFT number for their paycheck. Here's where the EFT cleared the bank. It was a lot. And for the ones that we were able to find and match, that was great. But then there were ones that, we could say, this is some of it, but, I had 50,000, but we claimed 75. So it was just, and it could have been somewhere else, but the only records I had was what was in RDA.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Carlos, broadband, any updates?
Nothing new from me other than what's on the web update.
And just for clarity, we're looking at May as our completion date? The completion date, we're still looking at, was it June?
No, so
I'm trying to jump forward a little bit.
yeah, so May for most of the areas, GEV 14, which is in the middle-ish, it was still waiting on, it was late getting a power supply, and so that one's probably end of June, and yeah, we're thinking that one will be end of June, and then the main goal is all the private roads, and so we tell everybody if they live down one of the long private roads to contact BreezeLine, and we've got it should be on the web update, but when you contact them, be sure to give your name and address also. They've gotten a lot of people are interested in internet, but they don't attach where they want the internet, and so then there ends up being back and forth. So in the initial communique, if you include that also, it just streamlines it a lot.
Carlos, you had mentioned in your report also that if somebody has an easement, that they need to touch base with whoever's registered on that property, so BreezeLine can get a hold of them to get that approved.
Right. So if you, if I'm understanding right, yeah. So if we live down a road and you're in front of me, then yeah, I have to coordinate with you to make sure they can go across your land to get to my land. Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate those. Brian, do you have anything additional to add? Woody, anything additional? Make it quick.
In my report, I used a word that I shouldn't have used. For Rotary Poorhouse Park, I wrote to you that we have asked TRC for a proposal about the next phase, the next step to go with Poorhouse Park. Proposal was pointed out to me at our EDA meeting that it kind of implies I've asked for a request for proposal, a contract of services, and that's not correct. What we've asked for is a summary from TRC about the next steps of due diligence, what this entails to work on the front end of the park with the suggestions that have been made most recently, And then that summary will be taken to the Poorhouse Park Advisory Committee, which Mr. Henry and Mr. Magruder are on. So I used the wrong word, proposal, it was pointed out, I want to make sure that you don't think that I've asked for a contract or something. Summary. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Stay there, Woody. Give us a little bit more detail and update, first of all, on the National Park Service Chesapeake Gateway selection. Where do we stand? This is
So-
awesome stuff, and
Yes, sir. So, this
elaborate.
last week, I received an email from the Parks Service, that they are preparing contractual documents, an agreement for us. So I immediately asked them, does that mean we're in? And can I tell all of our people that we're in? And nobody answered that yet. But they're preparing documents for us, and so you can take that from there. Yes, sir.
good news. What's going on with the Go Virginia commercial site identification study?
So this has to do with those, the grant similar to what the Northern Net got last year. I met last week with Sarah Oldacre from Go Virginia, and she worked me through the process and sent the application so that I can begin building, as she termed it, a coalition. I think you used that same phrase with me after one of your planning district commission meetings. So that's where we are. I've met with Sarah. She's fleshed it out for me, and I have an application to start working with.
So that's a study that we have to do with others, and that gets us.
So it's a multi-jurisdictional study.
Good.
There will be multiple applicants, multiple jurisdictions involved.
Okay.
The PDC will be the applicant, but the intent is to get money for a study for the participating localities. We would nominate some sites to it, for example, LaGrange or 1290 Mount Landing Road or the new airport, and say, look at this, what can we do to enhance these sites to make them better for economic development?
Because that really does add to companies wanting to come to that area, so that's a good study. What's gonna be our role in the Blue Catfish Steering Committee, and what opportunities are there for Essex County?
So our role at this point is, I sit on it's termed the Middlesex Blue Catfish Study, because Middlesex County made the application. I sit on the regional committee, so I attend the meetings. Recently, that process was kicked up a notch to where there's now a separate committee meeting with representatives from Virginia Tech. So Virginia Tech's actually doing this marketing and branding study, and also looking at the resource itself. What does it mean for Essex County? I don't think it means a lot in terms of, we're not gonna get a processing facility. We don't have the right place for it. That's my understanding. However, this matters regionally because we do have commercial watermen, and we have investments in the health of the river as a resource. And so taking the blue catfish out will mean more, theoretically, more things like blue crabs. So that's,
So there's the potential here for the marina here to be a commercial as well, potential. I'm not saying it will, but.
yeah, that's a really difficult situation with the marina.
Yeah, well, maybe there's some
It's
grant money
not
for
out of the
that.
realm of possibility, but it hasn't
Okay.
been mentioned as a specific place at this time.
And the last thing was, I thought it was really cool that the EDA participated, actually sponsored the Senior Success Summit at the Essex High School about workforce development. Just explain for the public as well as the board, what that meant to
Sure.
these kids.
I was looking to see if Beth was still here. So the EDA supported the Senior Success Summit. This was through work by the Bay Consortium Workforce Development Board. And there were hundreds of high school kids who came to Essex High School to learn about career development. It was put on by Bay Consortium and subject matter experts about workforce development. I don't have the report from Beth yet. We wanted to bring it to the EDA meeting last week and had a sick kid, so we just didn't get the details. But I know it happened.
Once you get that report, just forward that to
I will
us.
do
I
that.
think I'd appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Any other questions?
Thank you, Woody. Haven, do you have anything to add?
I just wanted to make an announcement for the community that our big summer learning kickoff is on May 28th at 3:30. We will have games, gem mining, music, food, and fun. So I just wanted to
What day is that
put that
again?
invite out there. May 28th, it's a Thursday at 3:30 to 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyle, you had something you wanted to add? You want to come up here now? Oh, no. You good? All right, is Jay here? Dylan, do you have anything to add? Mary's not here. Candace couldn't make it here tonight. She did submit her board report. Chuck, do you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Thank you. And Ms. Hart's not here. With that, we'll go into the constitutional officers and VDOT reports. We'll see Kristen, do you have anything to add? Thank you, Sheriff Holmes. Is Penny here? She was here. We don't have our VDOT rep in here anymore. We have a place for the superintendent. I don't know if you have anything we want to add, Dr. Jones. I know we've got Angela Scrooge coming up here soon.
I don't have much to add. I did just want to share, I heard your comments earlier that you were disappointed or whatever it was, that you were bothered at that statement, and regarding having someone from the centralized services to give the financial report. So, I would have liked to maybe talked about that, because certainly I don't believe that comment was intended to rub anyone the wrong way. I think it was not purposely. I think it was stated because there was a thought that a finance person, should have been available to present that document. Certainly a discussion that we can have, because I hear what you're saying, that that's something that you would, prefer that the superintendent, or you would think the superintendent should share. No concerns with that. Again, just something that I thought, that might have been something worth us discussing. That's all.
My comment specific was, you had a board member that said the reason they weren't approving the financials is because nobody from finance was there to give an overview or explain the finances. And in my opinion, as the superintendent, as the highest paid person in that school, you should have the ability to explain those finances if they really have that question.
Sure.
And I would expect you to fire back on your board and say, well, I can answer those questions. And that's what I didn't hear, and that's what disappointed me.
Yeah, I understand, and I'm just saying that's something that we can discuss. That's all.
Thank
So, Angela will be up in a little bit.
Thank you. Board members, anything else? John, you want to do any call-outs?
There we go. Brian, Lauren, and Carlos were able to speak at the Virginia Floodplain Management Association Conference. That's big time, folks. So, good job on that. We appreciate you. And they're going through a great process now and doing a, grand slam job. I mean, they're hitting it out of the park on that FEMA stuff, so I appreciate that. Again, our staff continues to improve. Ryan passed his stormwater inspection exam, so congratulations, Brian. Send that to Ryan for me. Wes, thank you for supporting opening day, Little League career day, and the truck pull, and having your staff there. It does not go unnoticed, Wes, so tell them thank you. I also want to shout out, this may seem trivial to some, but we have a really good custodial staff here at this facility, and Angela Islam is dedicated. She goes above and beyond, and we have a new staff member, Kelly Durham, who's got, is very positive, has good work ethic and attention to detail. So we really appreciate them keeping our facilities up as well as they do. Dylan is also going through a HVAC technician program. He's committed to doing that, and I think that'll be an added asset to this, the facility staff, as well as to this, our facility here, to have somebody who's technically trained to help and aid in that. So, Haven, 251 people did the tax aid program. Don't ever give that up. That's awesome. So, and just the number of people that participated in Little League opening day, and you guys were out there on Earth Day, as well as the TES Career Day. So thank you and your staff for reaching out to the community, and the library is more than just books, isn't it? So appreciate that. Parks and Rec, I want to thank, again, the Maintenance Department for helping out, the EMS, Wes, for helping with the pool cover and maintenance, and then a special shout out to Andrea Mittman and the Rotary Club for their assistance providing equipment for maintenance at the Poorhouse Park. We actually have a day scheduled at the end of this month, if anybody wants to join us and the Scouts out there to clear some trails. So volunteers are always welcome. Chuck, cybersecurity threats, it's never ending, 24/7, 365 days a year. And I know I keep on getting all these spam messages. I cannot imagine what you guys go through, but we appreciate your work there. And also all your leadership roles you're taking on in the state to help those folks as well improve cybersecurity, because it's not just for Essex County. It's everybody has to do it together to make it work. So, and that's it. Appreciate you.
Board members, anything additional to add?
He did a great job. Thank you, Supervisor McGregor.
Good. Appreciate it, guys. Let's get into consent agenda. Can I get somebody to make a motion to approve all three?
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it. All right, new business. New business A is the rezoning case 202-60022. Board, what say you?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the zoning district classification from B1 to R3 and rezoning case dash 202-62022, conditional upon the town of Tappahannock accepting the subdivision into its water and sewer system, and also conditional upon the installation of a metal gate to Black Gum Court that's only accessible, a locked metal gate that's only accessible to EMS and police.
Supervisor, you got in there before I could, but it was brought to my attention that an ordinance wasn't prepared for the rezoning at the time of the publication of the public hearing. There's been a recent Court of Appeals decision that draws into question whether or not a zoning action is valid if that procedural requirement isn't met. I dispute that Court of Appeals ruling, but they wear the robes and I don't. So my recommendation is that the board postpone action on this until your next meeting, and we may be able to work out some of those issues via an amended proffer with the applicant related to the gate or other concerns that the board had.
Would you prefer I withdraw the motion or just dies? Because I can withdraw it.
All right, so is it the recommendation of the board to postpone this till the next board meeting?
Do you need a motion on that?
Would you want to move that?
Yes, there would need to be a motion to postpone.
I move to postpone the rezoning case number 202-60022 to the June meeting.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. Next, we have the EDA supplemental budget request, the Explore Essex marketing request that Mr. Walker provided to us earlier today.
I'll motion to approve $15,000 request for funding to support the Explore Essex Marketing Grant Project as presented, I would suggest the funds coming from our,
Transit occupancy tax account.
that's one,
Thank
that's
you,
it. So we don't have to take it out of reserve funds, is basically it, board.
And that's consistent with the ordinance.
And that's
use.
consistent with our ordinance.
Yes,
Thank you, April.
thank you. Welcome.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Next, we have our budget action form for the disposition of a VEC tax overpayment. As you gentlemen recall, we tabled that till this month so we could bring an additional budget action form. The first budget action form was the original request, which processed the refund payment back to the school system. It was discussed that because the county had paid penalties, greater than this amount, that money, those monies should be allocated back to the unassigned fund balance. So what you have before you today is two budget action forms. The first is to return the money, the refund money to the schools. The second is to turn it back to the county. We need to take action on both.
I'll go
Yes.
ahead and make the motion not to,
So there's motion language provided for you,
let me see,
Supervisor.
let me get that motion language right. All right, oh, here he is. Motion to deny the budget supplement in the amount of $1598.18 from school refunds and rebates to the school salary and benefits from state funds as requested. It's a motion to deny.
Do we have a second? Okay, hearing no second, the motion dies. So do we have a motion to approve that?
I'll move to approve the budget supplement, the amount of $1598.18 from school refunds and rebates to school salary and benefits from state funds as requested.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and a second. Any discussion?
Gentlemen, I'll just remind you that we already paid this money out, and this is the refund back. So if it came from our funds, it should go back to our funds and not to the school. And that's why I made the motion to deny. So, but anyway, you've motioned to approve, so I just want to make that comment.
We'll call the question, and I'll ask our county administrator to poll each board member.
How say you, Chairman Akers?
Nay.
Vice Chairman Gill?
Yay.
Supervisor Hale?
Nay.
Supervisor Henry?
Yay.
Supervisor Magruder?
Nay?
Motion does not carry forward.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We have another budget action form. Do we have a motion on that?
I'll go motion to approve the budget transfer in the amount of $1598.18 from the school refunds and rebates to the county miscellaneous revenue as presented.
Do we have a second?
Folks, if we don't get a second, the money doesn't go anywhere.
Second.
Thank you, Joe. All right, motion's been made and second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, if will you please poll the board members?
How say you, Chairman Akers?
Aye.
How say you, Vice Chairman Gill?
Aye.
How say you, Supervisor Hale?
Aye.
How say you, Supervisor Henry? How say you, Supervisor Magruder?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, that was only for 1,500. Let's see
I
how the next ones go.
know. Oh, Lord.
All right, budget supplement for the school improvement grant. Ms. Gross, if you want to give us an update on that, and I appreciate you sending all the documentation, including the emails that you sent, so I didn't have an opportunity to go through all of it, but I do appreciate you sending that over.
Yes, I always try to be as transparent as possible with anything that I'm involved in as far as the application goes. We have a budget transfer request. Again, I'm not used to this terminology, not used to doing this role. But we are asking for the appropriation of federal Title I funds for school improvement. This is an award of $165,500. The school division and the leadership team have worked on this grant application. It was very stringent, and each piece had to be approved by the Department of Education prior to us being granted the GAN, the award. So we are asking for the appropriation tonight. Our school board has approved, and do you need any other additional information?
I have a couple questions. Is this our second year with this grant?
Yeah, good question. In fact, I was almost going to tell you that ahead of time. So we've had school improvement funding for quite a number of years, but it usually comes out more smoothly. This year, the Department of Education took a long time to identify schools for school improvement. Last year, both our middle school and high school were identified for school improvement. They were ATSI school, which is a bit of a lower concern level than what we've moved to with the middle school. So those lower concern levels, we were able to disperse these funds, embed professional development, and our high school moved out of school improvement. James H. Carey did not. And because they're in it for another year, we actually now have the ability to write this grant, not specifically for gap groups or subject areas, but to holistically infuse the entire school with professional development. So in this case, leadership team, principals, all of those involved got together and we looked at all angles. So we're infusing the school with literacy program that is vetted. It's one of the newer ones to Virginia. We're really excited about partnering with K-12 Coalition because they're moving into Virginia territory. And we have partnered with them in some other things such as I Teach with this company. So we're familiar with them. We have vetted their resources. We've had multiple conversations and meetings with them. And because they are approved by the state of Virginia to be used in middle schools. But during this process, they have offered an additional 10 free peer coaching days at JCIS in addition to the 10 that are already in the contract. So we're getting because they want to really make sure that this is employed properly. They want to use Essex County as a model for other school divisions, and so they're really highly invested in this partnership. We also are using CTLG to infuse math throughout the building. We used CTLG at the high school, and the high school came out of school improvement. We used Dr. Kasner for special education, and that high school came out of school improvement. So some of these vendors are vendors that we have used in the past that have found success. And so we are adding layers in for administrative support. All of this planning is being done between now and June 30th. So because the state was slow about getting the process going this year, they are giving us until June 30th to finish our plan, but they want us to meet with our vendors now and go ahead, and they want us using part of this grant to plan now before June 30th, which is why the grant is written that way, and then use the remaining funds throughout next year. So the reason we'd like to go ahead and get the appropriation is so that we can move forward with our planning meetings with our vendors to plan out next school year. But we're pretty happy with the way that this has turned out. We're excited. The vendors are calling and wanting to meet daily. But we do need your appropriation. Again, these are our federal Title I funds that are identified for schools and school improvement. This is a reimbursement grant, which means that the money will simply be reimbursed as it is spent. And that money comes in through Omega. It's there, it's sitting there, I can see it. We just need to have it appropriated.
And I know this is our second year in this latest round.
We've done this. I mean, I wasn't in this role. There were other people in the role for school improvement because I was in a completely different area of the school division. So I can't speak to how many years this has we've received this money, but I believe it's been for a number of years because the high school was in school improvement for multiple years before it came out.
So essentially, Chairman Akers, the funds that we're asking for appropriation on, it's pretty much the same amount when you look at what we were getting for EHS and for JCIS. So now all of that funding is sliding over to JCIS because that is our greater area of need. And they have, again, grown to the next tier of improvement
Now, when you say grow to the next tier, does it mean it needs additional help? Is that what you mean
Yes.
by grow?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to be
Yes.
clear that I
Grow is
understand what
not
that means.
good in this case.
Not in this case. Yes.
But part of my question with that is if, are we doing the same things that we did the previous year?
Yes and no.
Because if we are, and those
Yes
aren't
and
working,
no.
and it grew us to another tier,
Right.
I'd question whether those same things are
The
working.
pieces we used last year at the high school that were successful, we are using again. However, we are infusing a literacy piece that has not happened before, and it's something the school desperately needs. When I came into instruction more recently, we had 3 different texts adopted at the middle school, like three different high-quality instructional materials. That's not a good thing. So we're trying to completely change our approach to literacy, and Ms. Scott can speak to that too.
Sure I can. And so, yeah, so we've condensed the textbook adoption to make more sense across the division, really and truly. In our case, at the middle school, it would not be 3 different textbook adoptions. That's one thing. You asked another question, Chairman Akers.
I was basically just trying to make sure that we're not repeating what didn't work
And I'm
from the
gonna-
previous year.
Yeah, sure. Another thing to that point is that we know that our leadership has turned over a great deal just within the last year. So those leadership changes obviously are going to prompt us to do some different things more strategically and a lot differently than we had before. So there are some things that carry over. Literacy moved or migrated from just being focused in the elementary school setting now into the middle school setting. It's not new. It's you know, been around forever, for ages, since education has ever been thought of, you know, conceptualized. But I would also like to go on record for saying that this plan is not disjointed from our strategic plan that is inside of our comprehensive plan. So when we went in to make those revisions, we pulled all of that apart as a team in order to make sure that we have complete alignment and interconnectedness with our plans, so that it just increases the likelihood of us being able to get those things done and see results from our work.
Gotcha. And with that, I had 2 additional more questions. And it'll probably come back to me in a second. Now I'm just drawing a blank. I guess, so I'll go to my next one, which is the timing. I know on some of the documentation, I know it was signed off in February, and this isn't a critique on any of you or anything else, but it's came to us all of a sudden here, like as of, gets voted by the school board yesterday, but this has been known about for a little while.
Yeah,
So why is that rush happening? Again, we don't like to be in those rush situations, so
Well,
that's.
and it could be procedural. In the past, you know, I've just sent the information to my superiors. In this case, as soon as we got the email, of course, Dr. Jones has signed off on everything, but as soon as we got the email that we were going to get the GAN, I sent that email to Ms. McIntyre, to the superintendent, to all involved. I don't know what the steps are to get it over here. That's just not something I'm versed in, so I just did what I normally do. And then the GAN took a little while, like, so we got the email, and we waited and waited and waited for the GAN. So even though it says February 25th, it still took a while for the GAN to actually reach us. And then I pushed that out to Ms. McIntyre and Dr. Jones and all those involved. So the state, even though they're backdating things, so some schools, they didn't even get through the approvals process because the state takes so long, so that it was backdated. And so you really couldn't spin back to February because of the way that it was rolled out. And so that's just the state's timeline and that they were behind.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
I did have, so I remember the question I was gonna ask, is, and I know we face teacher shortages and everything else, do we have the certified teachers in place that's gonna carry out these initiatives that you are planning?
Funny that you say that. We are, we are definitely, obviously, like you said, acknowledging that there's a shortage nationally. We're unique in that we have pathways that allow our teachers to delve into certification pathways that can, you know, allow that process to happen for them. We just had a meeting today to ensure that our teachers are choosing a licensure pathway. That is a major, has been a major hindrance for us. We did the work of that We've been doing the work of that, but we definitely held our meeting this afternoon to let them know its alignment to their contract status. So if they are not, basically signed up, have their application in, whether it's for provisional license or through an I-Teach pathway, it impacts their ability to get a contract. So we are doing the work of that to ensure that all of our teachers are on a licensure pathway to secure the proper credentialing and licensing, if they do not have it. But we do have, a lot of our teachers do have those things. We've, suffered some different circumstances this year that have impeded on our ability to make sure that the applications for provisionals and things of that nature are in place. But we are doing the work to ensure that we do not carry that into the upcoming school year.
Thank you. Board members, other questions?
The school has an improvement plan, but looking at the plan that was provided, I don't see where the principal signed off on it,
There are,
division or the superintendent, or?
one of those attachments should include the
does.
signature pages.
It does, I saw it.
Well, I'm talking about specifically the school improvement plan. It's a 27-page document.
If you
that-
pull up the signature pages are on a separate, there's 3 different signature pages. You might find what you're looking for.
And that goes
The
with the
signs.
strategic plan? And
If you can pull up the signature pages. Oh, the one that says D. Scott on it, those are the signature pages. Yep, one of, yep.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Yeah, that has the signatures.
Yeah, I
that's
think it
for
was
the local education agency. I'm talking about specifically the strategic plan. It's a 27-page document that
You've pulled from our website.
you provided it to us. So I'm looking at that, what you provided us, and there's no signature on it.
Okay,
And
so
when did the school board
I
adopt
wasn't
that?
sure which of these signature pages you were talking about.
That's what I'm referring to.
However, the multi-year plan, if that's, that one is the one you're talking about, we have until June 30th. That's the plan I spoke about a minute ago, where I said we have to get together with our vendors and work on this plan together, and it is due on June the 30th. And the state of Virginia wanted us to do that work prior to submitting the plan, to work with our vendors first, which we have held off because we want to make sure we get the appropriation before we start.
So before the school board approves it, the vendors have to be in line?
Yes, for this state
before the
plan, we were encouraged to partner, to use a planning stage between now and June 30th, to partner with our vendors to create a plan that would last that entire year. So our due date for that is June the 30th.
So I guess the answer to the question is the board will adopt this at their next meeting? Or
When
before
we
the
finish
June
the
third,
plan.
before the June 30th deadline?
So I guess my question, along with John's, I think, is what happens if you meet with the vendors and this plan doesn't go anywhere?
Yeah,
What happens to the funds
We're in
then?
constant communication with the vendors. We're just waiting on appropriation.
Yeah, but this signed document isn't required in order to do appropriations, correct?
exactly.
We have all of the required signature pages. The state had to vet the signature pages.
Except for the plan that it refers back to.
There's no signature on there.
I guess, I would agree with John that we got a plan that's not signed yet, so that plan could change. You could say, we don't do anything. I mean, without having some document or some ownership of it. It's kind of like asking to fund it before we have the data documented. I mean, I get the award amount of it, but I'm not understanding why we wouldn't have this document signed.
We were just following instructions.
And those instructions come from VDOE to have funds appropriated before we sign an improvement plan?
We're following the guidance of the VDOE. Do you want to pull up the page in question?
Yeah, it's the last document, Essex County CSI 0407-2026. Click on that one. Nope, not that one.
No, that's up 2 pages.
It's a
It's a multi-year one, 27 pages.
Go to page 26 or 27, last or next to last page.
It's next to last page.
There, one up. Keep going on one, right there. That's what I'm
All
talking
I
about.
can tell you is that the state guidance was that this be signed by June 30th, and we were to use the school improvement funds to work with our vendors to help finalize this plan. So we did have to turn in the first part of the plan, which was vetted by the VDOE. So the VDOE has received the plan like this and has vetted it.
With the budget.
Mhm. So all I can tell you is we're following the guidance for the VDOE.
I mean, I have no problem if the school board approves this or whatever before the June 30th deadline. So the question I'm asking, will they do that? I think it's important. What worries me so much about this, and this is not directed to, this is a great program. I really support it. I think any improvement plan is going to be great for the kids. I totally support this. But we, the county, keep on getting dinged financially because procedures aren't followed, things aren't signed, paperwork's not documented there. I'm sorry, I'm just, if I'm overly concerned, I apologize, but I don't think I am.
Well, this looks like it's, the only requirements are the principal signatures, division lead level, and division superintendent. But it doesn't have a signature for vendors, so I would think this would be signed as submitted to the VDOE. If it needs to have amendments, that can happen at a later time, but I'd want to see some kind of signed document for a plan. There's got to be some ownership of it somewhere.
We can share this with our board, we can get it signed. We do have a work session coming up on the 20th. We can, at that point, meet with our entire board to have them do that. The question for us, I guess, is will that prevent you from taking action on it tonight?
That's up to the board, so the board could have the option to approve this contingent on, a signed strategy plan update. It's really up to the board as a whole.
And I would just like to plea that our vendors are waiting on us, and for us to finalize the completion of the plan that is in question, we're waiting for the appropriation.
When you say the vendors are waiting.
They're waiting for us to be able to sign contracts, which is what's holding us up from getting
Are
this
those
done.
contracts listed in this plan?
The contracts are in
Well, that doesn't do them any good
BoardDocs.
anyway if this isn't signed. If I was a vendor, just because you get approval for money and this contract's not signed doesn't mean anything. I mean, I wouldn't take anything without a signed contract. I just wouldn't.
Right, which is,
But this
and
isn't signed.
our contracts are on, with the vendors are on a different page in there.
So we already committed contracts to these vendors?
No, we have not, we're waiting.
Again, I'm back to this document. I agree, I'd like to see this document, because that's the plan that's referenced throughout the whole thing. But that's up to the board as a whole.
Let me ask, if I can, a question as well.
Yeah.
How do we track how these funds are spent?
What are my questions?
The last school improvement grant, I was involved in, and it was spent precisely the way it was written and reimbursed precisely the way it needed to be reimbursed, down 100% on the timeline. So everything was done exactly as the grant was written, and we expended the entire funds.
Well, I mean, that's great, that's commendable. How is that reported out? Does the school board see how this money is being spent?
You can run reports, you can go into Omega and.
Yeah,
and
well,
run
I
them.
understand that, but
Right.
are they seeing it now?
Yeah, well, the approvals go through the Omega system,
And that
which
Dr.
Dr.
Jones
Jones
probably-
signs off on.
Yeah, so those are reports that I see. I don't necessarily pull those reports and give them to the school board, as,
Yeah.
I don't know how often you're talking, but I pull those reports, I can see them, yes, and share with our team, but not necessarily with the board.
Right. Well, $165,000 grant, I mean, I'm just one person, but I'd like to see how it's tracked. And that's just an opinion, and even this board may want to see something like that as well.
So I'll add that I do work closely with Brian Seal, and he's done an excellent job with reimbursements. We have a weekly meeting. And anything that's in any grant that I handle, I don't handle all of them, but if anything is in a grant that I handle, Brian and I and Missy are sitting together at a table every week. And he is entering the reimbursements. So Brian is the one entering the reimbursements in the system, and we work together to match up the pieces of the grants.
And you see why I'm asking the question, because we're facing penalties because money was not spent, or we've got to refund it. And we've just got to have a tracking mechanism that is to the penny.
And Julie has set up a tracking system with the county as well. And I will say, I've said from the moment I started working with Brian and Missy as well, that, our reimbursements now get done as soon as the money is spent. And that was not happening before, and it was frustrating. But now we have a system, we meet weekly. Brian has it in that system as soon as possible. And Dr. Jones signs off on it in the system. There's multiple layers inside the management system.
I'm glad you have those internal controls in place at this point. It'd be good to see how they come to fruition.
Yeah,
Well-
I don't handle SPED. So-
But Vice Chairman Gill, just to note, because of centralized services ending in June 30th, Ryan Seal works for us, so does Julie.
Not gonna be able to.
That system will not be managed by our team, so just want to
Yeah.
make sure that
Thank
you
for
don't think that we're gonna be
clarification.
doing
So,
that,
But the onus is still on the tracking side, so.
which we
that
developed
that
and we.
falls on the school.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. So I just want to make sure you knew we weren't
No,
gonna
no,
be continuing
totally
that.
understand.
Okay.
Thank you for
And
that.
I know the school board approved this last night, but did they not have any of these same questions?
They did not. I assume they read the materials.
And I can read the materials, but again, no question about an unsigned document or, just, if they
Right,
did.
I mean, we had the required signature pages that the state
For what's
needed
due
for the
right now.
grant, for what's due right now.
Right.
So, we had the things signed that were supposed to be signed at that point in time.
Chuck, can you go to page 14 on this plan that you got up right now? It's page 12 by their page numbers. Keep on going, one more, right there, that one. It talks about stakeholder engagement. What stakeholder engagements did you have when you developed this plan? Again, I get concerned if we're not following their stuff and we get dinged. To Mr. Gill's point, we get dinged. Not you all, we get dinged.
I understand.
Okay.
And this part of the plan, we just have to continue to reiterate, is not due until June 30th. So it is not too late that we will engage our stakeholders further. We started with our internal stakeholders, obviously. Externally, we have not gotten to that extent yet. It does, a portion of some of what we've collected in needs assessment information has come from the principal and assistant principal of that building, but we have not fully engaged the principal and assistant principal as much as we've engaged the division level team first. So this portion of the plan is slightly not reflecting the full scope of where we need to go in order to have it done by June 30th. The first portion, we definitely had to have the budget piece of it completed, secured the vendors so that we can begin to spend down if it's appropriated. But there's more work to do on this plan, and we acknowledge that piece of it for sure, because it's not due until June 30th.
So what you're telling me that the school board has set dates and stuff to get stakeholder engagement, and that includes the public, because they're part of this. If you read
Correct.
this plan, it's there. So those dates have been set?
Well, not the school board, the central office, our team, yes, we work through this every Monday. We work through,
They have,
Each
for
portions of this
public engagement as part of the stakeholder engagement.
who is they?
The
That
public.
you're asking me about.
They,
I
you're
said
telling
not
me
our
central
school-
services,
I'm
or
saying
you're
not-
saying your central administration now is in charge of putting these engagements out?
And And I'm
And
also.
that's fine.
I'm-
What are the dates?
What I'm saying is that incrementally, we are attacking this plan. So we've taken
All right.
piece by piece, each part of what needed to be done that was due for now. So we have not fully engaged this plan, but we know that we have to have this done by June 30.
I fully understand.
Where we will ensure that we have
Okay.
our parent stakeholders that have been chosen through our needs assessment. There are identified outside stakeholders that go with that process as well.
Well, I would challenge the school board to read this entire document and have a high level of confidence that all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't share it.
Yeah.
You've got a
so-
challenge here, folks.
We also have an annual needs assessment process that has wrapped up. And that you will find in the title presentation from last night to the board. We have division committee stakeholders and committee stakeholders for each school. And we follow a process for input. And it's multi-layered. It's not just with the titles, it's for any instructional materials or any electronic components we have to instruction or any additional needs. So that process occurs between February and April typically, and we always have a schedule. We have division level needs assessment meetings, we have school level needs assessment meetings, and then we tie that all together with final division needs assessment meetings. So we do have needs assessment processes that are taking place, but as Ms. Scott said, that can further be developed. But during that needs assessment process, our stakeholders are doing deep dives into our data of all types, whether it's discipline, literacy, math, all of those things are looked at during the needs assessment process, along with the committees that include community and parent stakeholders in all of those committees.
In some of the needs assessment feedback that has come from varied stakeholders, like, through the community as well as our school team, the report that we did last night on title grants, it wrapped up that information that we presented to the board last night on our title grants. It just has not moved into this document yet. This document is not due until June 30th.
And all this money's gonna be spent, correct?
It has been in the past, and it should be in the future.
You gotta reasure me a little bit more than this, folks. I don't mean to beat this dead horse, but I need some assurance here, folks.
We worked really hard to make sure it was spent as written the last time we had a school improvement grant. And I wouldn't expect that there would be any change.
All right. And assure me that there will be proper documentation, so there'll be no problems?
Yes,
And-
we have grant meetings weekly, and we have a running agenda for the grants that I handle, not all of them. But we have a running agenda with all the parties involved and of every little piece of a grant that is discussed.
Again, don't take this personally. This is from the taxpayers in this community who are asking me these questions, and, because they're looking at me.
We
And I-
understand.
And I just want to be able to say, they've got it handled, it'll be fine, and if it's not,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna be the first one. I will congratulate you to the high heavens when it's all good and the money's spent and the kids' improvement has done great things for them. I will cheer you on as always. But if it's not, you're gonna hear from me. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
And we expect that. We are doing our due diligence to be great stewards over the taxpayer dollar through our educational system.
I'm gonna shut up.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome, Chair Akers.
We have another meeting at the end of this month, so we can do it then.
May 28th.
May 28th.
Could you guys just bring back June 9th, for this board to approve with that signature page on that 28th? Why would just do that?
Okay, we can't meet with our vendors without the appropriation.
So you can't meet with vendors without having money appropriated?
Correct. I mean, I didn't think we could spend money without it being
Well,
appropriated.
meeting
so
with
we
them is not
didn't-
necessarily spending money with them, right?
No, well, they're getting paid for like day-long sessions to work on these plans.
Yeah, we've already met with.
The planning
we're at
meetings.
the
They're written inside the grant. The planning meetings are inside of the grant.
So once we start meeting with them, they're
No, it's not got us by the tail. How much is it for a meeting?
You'd have to pull up the contracts
Like a day meeting's 4,000.
for one of them.
The one of them is like 4,000 a day. I think that's all.
I'm still hesitant without signed document. I'm still hesitant the fact that we just got this live. It was just approved by the school board. I'm aggravated they didn't ask more questions than they did. I'd be happy to help fund if we need to get this. I don't think it's a bad program. I think it needs to be signed. And I don't want to keep you guys from being able to meet with your consultants and do that. So if it needs to be a separate request to, pay for a meeting to get it where you can meet with it, I just, that's where I'm at. But I'll open it up to the board. Board, what should be your pleasure? You could approve it as it is. There is a budget action form on there. It could be denied. You could approve it conditionally.
If we approve it conditionally, what's the condition going to be? The signatures on the improvement plan?
Could be the final signature, final plan, yeah. I don't even know that, but I guess my issue is the school board didn't approve a signed plan. That could change.
They're gonna do that on the 20th. You said it, you could.
We can ask for it to be put on the agenda for the 20th, although that meeting, I will tell you, that is supposed to only be for budget. So I can ask if we can.
Well, this will impact the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
this is budget.
So we can ask that to be, put on the budget work session.
I mean, when was your planned first meeting with the consultants?
Ms. Gross?
When was your first planned meeting with the,
June 1st.
all right, so if we did a contingent on May 20th, having signed documentation, that would still give you time to be able to have your meeting.
They're also the literacy supplies. They're a little concerned that we may not get them in time to train teachers for the start of school. So that was the other deadline that I am aware that there's concern about.
If we're talking May 20th, we're talking 8 days.
Okay.
And if you have to pay overnight shipping, just reduce it. So board, I'll throw it back at you.
I'm a Chairman Gill, Vice Chairman Gill, yeah. We can do it contingent, cause the kids deserve this. We beating up a dollar figure, but we forgetting about the kids. So, doesn't matter who's at fault, who didn't sign that, that's not a problem. Let's think about
So what you're saying is you're offering up a motion to approve this contingent on a signed school board improvement plan.
Yes.
Signed by the superintendent and directors.
Yes.
On May 20th.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Here we go. Thank you. All right, Max, you can be very long.
I didn't know if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more of those to go under the budget action request.
All right, Max, we'll turn it over to you.
So, this item, proposed resolution 26-009. I asked that it be placed on the agenda. It is a initiating resolution to begin the process of amending the zoning ordinance to address some new legislation that was enacted officially at the end of April, and it goes into effect July 1. So the more time the county can have to chew on some of those meaty policy things, the better.
Sir, are you looking for us to adopt this resolution tonight?
Yes.
I move to adopt resolution 26-009.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. All right, with that, let's.
We have one more item, don't we? Or for the security request, or we?
The Riverfest.
For Riverfest?
Yes.
I'll go ahead and do a motion to approve the 4,500 requested for security detail at Riverfest.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Could we identify funding source? You want reserves or also from transient occupancy tax since it is
Tourism
Pull it out of
related.
Joe and Calvin's discretionary
noted?
fund.
I can do that.
What
I
was that?
love spending other people's money.
I would say if,
If you want the bank to call you, go ahead.
It does fit with the ordinance. I pulled it if you
yeah,
wanted
we're
to
gonna-
use
We're gonna
that.
do it out of that ordinance,
The TOT.
the THC,
Okay.
yes.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Let's try to get some of their money.
Well, it's your money.
All right, will somebody read us into closed session? It's not over yet, gentlemen.
I move that the Essex County Board of Supervisors convene in closed meeting pursuant to Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711A1 for discussions, assignment, and appointment of appointees to the Essex County Economic Development Authority, and pursuant to Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711A3 for discussion and/or consideration of the acquisition of real property for public purpose and the disposition of publicly held real property, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the board related to leases and use agreements, potential property acquisition, and sites for public facilities. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we're in closed session. All right, get a motion to come back into open session?
So move.
Second.
All right, April, you do a roll call, please. Whenever you're ready.
Should we vote? Point of order?
Huh?
Should we vote to come back in?
Oh, yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now can we do a roll call?
Chairman Akers,
Present.
Vice Chairman Gill,
Present?
Supervisor Hale,
Present.
Supervisor Henry,
Here.
Supervisor Magruder.
Here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, we have a quorum. Would somebody please read the compliance certification?
Whereas the Essex County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmed recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires the certification by the board that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now there be it resolved that the board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirement of Virginia law were discussed in closed session to which the certification resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the board.
Any member who believes that there was a departure from the requirements of clauses 1 and 2 shall state the substance of the departure that, in his judgment, has taken place. Hearing none, April, will you please certify the board?
Chairman Akers,
I certify.
Vice Chairman Gill,
I certify.
Supervisor Hale,
I certify.
Supervisor Henry,
I certify.
Supervisor Magruber.
I certify.
Thank you,
You
gentlemen.
are tired.
All right, board requests and directives. Essex County offices will be closed on May 25th in observance of Memorial Day. You didn't add the 20.
Point of order.
Oh, yeah, we have some.
We have an
What
EDA
happens when you take
appointment.
me this long? Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve John Harvey to the EDA board with a ending date of our appointment term. Looking it up here.
May 31st, 2028.
May 31st, 2028.
We have a second?
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. Board requests and directives.
I have one.
Go ahead.
I'll make it quick. On the last weekend of July, July 24th, 25th, 26th, the Virginia Farm Bureau Young Farmer Summer Expo will be headquartered in Essex County.
Oh, nice.
Yes, could be as many as 250 attendees, young farmers from around the state. And so that's a great opportunity to showcase the county, the town, and the business opportunities here. They'll be coming in on a Friday, some meetings in the county as well as in the Northern Neck as well during that weekend. So Supervisor Magruder and I had talked about this earlier, and we think it might be a good idea to have a proclamation prepared, if it's the pleasure of the board. And John, you may have some other comments to that effect, and we'll think about other things to do as far as promoting it. I'm gonna also be talking with the town council on this as well. So Faye Hunley is the chair of the State Women's Committee, and she's instrumental was instrumental in getting this here in Essex County this coming summer.
Where will it take place?
Like
Cloverfield.
Up in
Thank you.
Champlain.
They got plenty of that daggone room down there.
Yeah. In fact, they'll have a big dinner that Saturday night there for the attendees at their place. And they're also will be seeking the use of the high school for some classroom and auditorium space for this afternoon sessions on Saturday.
What are the dates again?
July 24th, 25th, and 26th.
That's what I thought, okay.
And it's called the farmer's what?
And does young farmer qualify as anybody under
Young
85?
You can check the website.
And being that agriculture is the #1 industry in the state and is an important industry here in this county, I think the proclamation is warranted.
And we can do one without a motion or a vote. We just need, if you have
As long as we get ahead
information.
now, everybody's okay with it. Yeah.
Yes.
And we could present this, have it ready to present, maybe at the June meeting, or maybe, we could also maybe do it in July as well, I don't know.
You could, or if they want, if she wants it done at the actual event too. If there's a special dinner or anything.
And it might be nice to get it published in the paper
Yeah.
as well.
Yes,
It would
okay.
be, yeah.
We can take care of that. Thank you.
Any other board requests or directives before we go down the list? I would like to make the request to see if our county administrator would relay to the school board our desire for them to submit to us in very short order their budget and capital improvement plan.
Can I make an amendment to that
Yes, you can.
request? That
Given that it's just a
that the
directive.
budget be presented in the form of categories as we have budgeted them. Is that reasonable?
So for clarification, you want them to submit it to you in paper form, or you're requesting a presentation to you? of
We'll
what
take it
their
in
budget-
paper form to start.
Okay.
We want both. I think we want an advanced copy. and then
A week in advance copy.
How about the whole board just come in? Let's talk about it.
Like a joint meeting?
Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, and then break it down, I mean, for as, okay, you see clerks, okay, I need, this money is for 3 clerks. 1 clerk, 2 clerks. you know.
Right.
Well, maybe they could submit it to us far enough in advance that if we need to request a joint special meeting, we could do that.
Yeah, the reason I ask is if they're going to do their work session on it on the 20th and go to adopt their budget on the 28th, you know, just the timing of what you're looking for. Do you want them to adopt something that's consistent with what you're looking for, or?
I think personally, since they give us things the day before or day of, I think the fact that we are just giving them, how many days? 7 days, 8 days? I think we're giving them plenty of time.
Okay, I
have
just wanted
no
to make
problem
sure
with
I
it.
knew what the directive was. Okay.
I appreciate you checking.
I don't
Do
know
we
that-
have to reconvene to handle this 165,000, or we're done with that?
The 165, we're done. We did it
That's
contingent.
done conditional to them
Yeah, but I
approving
mean,
on
how
May
do-
20th.
gotta
How are we
approve it on
gonna know
the
that they
What-
did it? Do we have to meet for that?
I guess I go
No,
there
what-
and ask them, did y'all sign it, and I listen to them.
No, what happened when you made it conditional is you put the work
That's right.
back on the county
gotta
to
follow up on it.
verify that,
Right.
You gotta verify.
right. And then if it has not happened, we'll have to come back to you. and
Well,
let
that's
you know it
easily
didn't happen.
verifiable.
Yeah.
What was their office and asked them?
I thought we put the May 20th date on there.
That's right, so
We
our-
did.
We did.
So-
We did.
So if it doesn't happen on May 20th, then that,
The motion's
the
dead.
motion's dead.
Yeah, but still, I
Okay.
walk over there on the 20th.
well, no, we'll contact them on the 21st to
Yeah.
get the results of the vote of the consent.
If
of
they were
that
being
document,
proactive, they
if
would
they've
send it
signed
to us on May 21st.
They
We
don't
shouldn't
send
be
it.
Walking in, or say, let me see it, I want to see this sign.
I was just asking because it'd be a good time to get together if we had to do, have both groups come if we had to meet again for that purpose, but apparently not.
But it just meet again, period, for the daggone budget.
Yeah.
Well, it's different requirements. If it's the school budget, finance committee folks, they can get together anytime, but if all of you, it's a a special joint meeting, we
We'll
have to
schedule an
advertise
issue
and
we
that
have
kind of
to
thing,
work
so.
out Between two boards, getting everybody together, it just gets a little more tricky.
Yeah, so I just want to understand what you mean.
Well,
And I think they'll be leading up to the 28th to get whatever they're gonna get anyway.
Okay,
My guess is it's not gonna get resolved on the 20th, not the entire budget where it's at now.
I don't think so either.
okay.
And Ron, I'll probably end up having, I'm pretty sure we'll probably get called to another,
That's fine.
so we can kind of just play that by ear whenever we get
Well, if there's
their
an,
budget, then we can look, see what the timing looks like, whether we need to.
Then this call and say, we meeting this day, okay. We'll be here.
And that meeting could be, I mean, that doesn't have to be the meeting where we approve it. It could just be a meeting where we have a conversation, and then we take it up at our regular meetings. So-
Right.
yeah, but if we're all there, we have to have,
if you're all there, I have to
Right,
advertise
notice.
the session.
you know,
Right. The other thing is the VPI, we might want to add the VPI, so I'll work with you, April, on the language that we send over to the school.
All right, that'd be fine, thank you.
And make sure we include the VPI in that as well, since we didn't take that up tonight. All right, with that, we've got, Essex County office will be closed on May 25th in observance of Memorial Day. There is the 2026 commencement exercise at honor of the Essex County High School graduating senior class. We all have received an invitation to that through county administration for May 15th at 5 p.m. June work session on June 9th at 5 p.m. here in the Beal Boardroom, followed by our regular meeting at 7 p.m.
And if you're planning to go to the graduation, just let Gina or me know so we can, I think the RSVP is due tomorrow to Ms. Saunders. I know Mr. Henry's going.
I already responded, Ms. Saunders, I'm not available. I'm gonna be,
Thank
I've got family coming in town.
Okay.
I actually don't think I'm here, but
Okay.
I thought he was gonna say he walking through some.
nor do I think they want me here. There.
that's every day.
I'm not available.
Okay.
Hey, did you put them flags in the ground right by my house? Up there by General Strock's house? They
Mr.
got
Hale,
flags everywhere.
Mr. Are
Oh,
you
he
gonna
did
go?
that. I know what you're talking about.
Are you going to
We'll talk about that
graduation?
later.
I don't really want to.
Okay, thank you.
Now, May 15th.
It's
that's a-
Friday, this
This
Friday.
Friday. 2 days, or 3 days from now.
All right.
Oh, no, there.
It's all yours, Mr. Henry.
Represent us
You put a
well.
bug in my computer.
All right, well, hearing no other business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going because one of my dad.